Welcome to the True Joy Revolution. I'm your host, Katerina Kormas, confidence, clarity, and mindset coach for new and aspiring entrepreneurs. This podcast is for women ready to leave 9 to 5 behind and become the CEO of their own life and business. Each week, I'll be bringing you inspiring conversations with successful entrepreneurs who share their expert mindset and business secrets to help you cut through the overwhelm and take the steps to become the entrepreneur you were meant to be. This is where you connect to the life and business that is perfect for you and embark on the adventure that you were born to take. This is where the True Joy Revolution begins. Are you ready? Let's go. Hi, y'all. Welcome to True Joy Revolution. I am so excited to introduce you to Cynthia Long from Angel Roots and Boots. She's an angel intuitive and a dear friend. And she and I talk a lot about, beyond the to-do list, beyond the plan, and how the universe, how the woo takes place in our lives at the same time. It's a little bit deeper conversation that we're going to have today, a little bit different. And it's interesting because a few months ago, I was doing a Reiki session. I'm a Reiki practitioner, and I had a client on the table, and I was at her feet, and I kept hearing this message, trust the process. And I thought, well, this is good for her. I know where she's at in her life. It's a great message. And then I got to her head, and which is like the connection to the divine, the universe. And I heard trust the process in both realms. And it actually, whether it was for her or for me to hear, I was like, oh, wow. I said, I literally almost said out loud, like, we don't even think about it like that there's a process in, waiting for things to happen and dreaming about it and planning it and putting it on paper and doing the to-do list and trying to take the action and trusting that there's other things impacting us moving forward beyond, we don't have full control, beyond our control. And I'm learning more and more just about how the body has an impact and how the stars aligning and the energy in the room or the energy around, like even me and my neighbors, how if they're acting up, it impacts my whole life. And then it got me thinking, like, I want to talk about this because we all want to have control and start to take action and do things. And then we don't see the results, or we wonder why, forgetting that there's divine timing. There's so many other things in place that we need to take into account. So I thought Cynthia is the perfect person to chat with because we chat these things all the time.
Yes, we do. We definitely do. Yeah, thank you, Katerina, for having me. I know that, I've been a friend and client of yours for a while now, and Katerina and I, we dive deep into this during my sessions, with Reiki and massage, and then we wind up having a big, long, chat afterwards as well. So we have discussed a lot of this, like she's talking about with Reiki. We've had these experiences where she's gotten messages for herself as well as myself during sessions. And I know that when, specifically when I go to Katerina, I call in my guides, my spirit guides, my team, and just ask them to go ahead and bring forward the messages that are best suited for myself and for Katerina, because she's having this experience as well. And like she was talking about, the energy, that whether you can see the energy, you fully are 100% on board with the energy, it is there, And everybody, the best way that I like to explain to people who are kind of like, oh, I don't know about this energy woo-woo business. I'll give you an example. Have you ever walked into a room after two people have been arguing, or you go to someone's house and you just kind of you feel like you just kind of you walked into their fight, even though you don't see them actively arguing. There's tension in the air, and you even there's the saying, you could cut the tension with a knife. That is essentially the energy. You can feel that. You can also go into a space where you're like, oh man, I just feel so good here. I love this vacation spot. We want to come back here every time because it feels so good. Or don't like eating there because it wasn't really the food, but there was just some like sort of vibe, or maybe it was the waiter. Those are aspects of energy where we pick up on it. And like I said, even though you're not like diving in like, oh, this was exactly like the energy that I was feeling, or, you know, the woo-woo of it, we feel it. It impacts us. It impacts our experiences. It impacts us how we behave and react throughout days. Planetary energy, lunar energy, it all has a bit of an effect on each and every one of us. And so one of the things that I do as an angel intuitive is I call on folks' guides, you know, your guardian angels, if you will, and I channel that energy to bring you messages that are suited for your highest good. Folks that come to me, they're not going to receive a message that's scary and daunting. I'm not, you know, removing curses, you know, ancestral curses from anybody. There's some weird stuff that I see people do. I'm just like, that's a bunch of malarkey, but okay, to each their own. But I'm just sitting there talking with your guides and my guides, and we're bringing forward like the most beautiful messages to help folks, whether they're in a position where they may be feeling a little blocked and stuck, or they're looking for some confirmation and affirmations about what they're working on currently in their life. So that's how I do my work. I also channel it into angel blessed blends that I make with essential oils. Call on your guides and they tell me like, you know, it's almost like I like to say like the Swedish chef, like it's a dash of this and it's a dash to that, and then poof, it's perfectly made just for that individual. Yeah. And I post this stuff on Instagram. I have an Instagram page, Facebook page, the Angel Roots and Boots, and I share all of this wisdom and knowledge with folks on a daily basis. So that's what I do, and you know, I'm that person that like if you show an interest that you like have a question, I could easily talk your ear off all about it.
That's good. I mean, you're so knowledgeable. I mean, it's interesting because a lot of us, we get, as we said, we get so focused on the earthly to-do list, the human life that we're living, that we can't tap into those two intuitive messages unless you really it's like a muscle you have to strengthen to hear your messages, you know. And I talk about this with my clients all the time. Like, you have to learn to tap into your intuition, whether it's you have to get quiet. You have to be in a space with good energy, right? You have to put yourself, like if it's a favorite park or favorite room, wherever it is, and just be okay with being with yourself and listening. Because when you start to, and people hear it in different ways, people see signs better than they hear it. Some people see things in their dreams, or, you know, angels and guides speak to us in all kinds of ways, but a lot of, and even journal writing, free writing, and just asking a question and waiting for the answer to come. Sometimes we don't realize that our aha moments are actually divine messages that we heard. You know, it's kind of like when you really want to figure something out, you can't, so you walk away and you're going for a walk, and all of a sudden it hits you. Well, you allowed that space for that message to come in, and you can hear it because you were open to it. You walked away from I'm so stuck in it, I'm not going to hear anything, I got to figure this out myself, to, okay, I'm just going to walk away for a second, and you open that energy up. So we all have the ability to tap into our intuition, which is actually divine guidance for us. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's there for everybody. And you hit the nail on the head. It's a matter of actually being able to listen. Sometimes when we get into that busy work, we are purposefully not listening. You know, we're looking for some other distraction because we're afraid of what the answer might be, or we're afraid of the work that might have to be put into it. You know, so we will busy ourselves, or we'll procrastinate with things, and this winds up kind of delaying that message that you had been, you know, asking for. Yeah. Your guides, you know, lots of people will be like, I was in the shower and I had an aha moment. It's because you were just not thinking. You weren't running through every task that you need to complete that day. You're just kind of going through the motions, like lather, rinse, repeat. So, you know, and so you were able to go ahead and listen to the messages that were being provided to you. I love to also highlight to people that even when they don't think that they're getting a message, they are. That's just, you know, like if you ever get in the car and your favorite song is playing on the radio and you're just like, oh my gosh, I love this song. I haven't heard this song in forever. It's a message. Like, or you wake up with the song stuck in your head and it's on like a loop.
listen to that little bit of that chorus or whatever the part that was like stuck in your head. That's typically a message for you as well.
Yep.
For you to apply to, oh, I did ask for, for God to give me a sign, the universe to give me a sign, for my grandma to, say hello, or, yep. That type of stuff. So you're spot on. You have to be willing to listen. And so when we get stuck in that busy work and that grind, while, sometimes it is essential, to whether it's, getting stuff done or, getting paid or what have you, there's also that balance that we need to seek. And that balance is where we just kind of get quiet. You don't have to be like a huge yogi meditation guru type of a thing. You don't have to sit there like surrounded by 14 salt lamps. You just sit quietly, turn off TV, put your phone down, like don't even hold the phone, and just listen. Just listen to your breath. That's where it starts.
Yeah, because we all have the answers. They're already there.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to seek them; they'll come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you do your angel intuitive sessions, and that really helps. And if it helps you get connected to your guides in a way, because we're not normally, unless you're really seeking to get to know them and doing some work, but it's a great start to, I know I used to get readings done because years ago, I couldn't just tap in. I didn't trust myself what I was hearing was right. Am I even hearing anything? Am I making this up in my head because I want them to say that? It takes a long time of getting quiet and being okay with getting quiet and being open to not just making you hear what you want to hear, being okay with you might hear something you don't want to hear, like this isn't right for you. That feeling of it doesn't feel right means it's not right. Yeah.
And your guides are never going to give you like a horrible, like doom and gloom type of messages. For example, if they're telling you that something isn't right, they're just going to highlight to you, like, do you notice how you feel when you think about this? It doesn't feel good, does it? So let's, seek another avenue. That's their message for you. If you ever are in a meditation or in some sort of thought process, a lot of folks don't know this aspect. However, it's very important. If you hear something that sounds negative, degrading, I wouldn't say sassy because my guides are kind of sassy, but like ultra sassy, or mean, that's not your guides talking to you. That's your ego talking to you. Okay. So your guides are always going to have your highest good. Like that's their best intention for you. Like they want you to tune in to the best thing possible for you. And they're going to deliver it to you in a very loving manner. Okay. They're never going to just go, no, you're a big dum-dum. Don't do that. That's not the way that they operate. So if you hear you're a big dum-dum, that's your ego. That's not your guides. And so, you touched on it about, am I only hearing what I want to hear? Think about it. If what you're hearing is like, something that and everybody that goes through this, like you have all the information in front of you, but you still are kind of like, ooh, I don't think that, I really want to do that, or I still want to do that, even though all this information is pointing to I shouldn't. You go with your gut, okay? You're going to know if you feel good about what you're doing, you are like staying up at night crying and worrying, then it's a green light, go. But if you've got like 1,000 reservations about it and it's keeping you up and it's twisting up your stomach and it's, breaking your family apart, then you might want to reconsider and kind of maybe go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. It's such a good point, because there is no negativity when it comes to your spirit guides. They're never going to talk in any negative. They're going to be words like, it's not right. This is a better direction. There's not going to be, oh, you're not capable of doing this. There is no capability of you can or cannot. In the world altogether, there's no like you can or cannot. It's whether it's right for you and your journey and what you're meant to do versus not. And sometimes it's whether it's right for you in your journey right now, or maybe it's in a little while, and sometimes people, even with people in their prayer work,
it didn't happen, so it's a no. And I'm like, it's not necessarily a no. It's just it's not right now.
Yep.
Don't get upset. Don't think that it's all, said and done and over with. It's just not a right now. And it could be, like you mentioned, a matter of divine timing. It could be things still need to line up. It could be, that you still have a little bit of work that you have to do on your end before you can meet up with that other, match that you're, seeking out.
Yeah, that brings it goes to divine timing, that you can put in all the work, and all the work's great that you're putting in, but unless you're in the right place and all the other situations are in the right place. It's kind of like in the business world when you're looking for clients and you're like, gosh, I'm not attracting any clients. Well, it's not just you showing up to find them. They have to be ready to need you, and they have to be in the right place, and they have to be able to find you in a right, a specific way. It's all, it's kind of like finding, like, I'm still single, I'm 40. And it's like, but that person has to be ready.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm ready to, and they might just not be ready. I keep thinking, like, maybe they're just still trying to figure themselves out, but everything kind of has to, it's like God playing chess, or, putting a puzzle together and making all the pieces fit together. But you still need to keep going to do your work and your inner work and learn your lessons in order for you to be in the right place at the right time.
That's exactly it. And, when you are factoring other people's, energy and experiences, like, you want to attract the right, vibration, the right match to you. So if they're still working on their stuff, do you really want them coming to you like half done? The answer to that is no. Like, I'm sure lots of folks can attest that they've been in a situation that they've been with someone, work with someone who's just not really, up to speed and, not at their level. And it's not to say that they are a bad individual to be with or work with or what have you, be a friend with. It just doesn't match, and my husband likes to say there are 7 billion people in this world and you're not going to get along with each and every one of them. And it's absolutely true. And it's just a matter of energy. Like, they're still doing their thing. You're doing your thing. It doesn't mean that it's, you can't ever be a friend again or work together again. It's just not right now.
Exactly. It's kind of freeing in a way, because, so many of us worry about what other people think of us, and we want everybody to like us. First of all, your husband brings up a good point. You cannot please 7 billion people in the world. 7 billion people are not going to need your services, your products. They're not going to need to be your friend. And you think about it, I can only be friends with a certain amount of people before I cannot be a good friend to them.
Exactly. And, when you start looking at, in that avenue, then you, first of all, are not a good friend to yourself. You are doing yourself an absolute disservice.
Yeah. Trying to be too much to everybody.
Yeah. And that's not what you're supposed to do. I'm not saying go out there and be mean, just be like, attack to the hand type of a thing. That's not it. You can be polite, just like, my cup of tea, but thanks anyhow. Yeah.
You know how many times, I feel like sometimes not a bad friend, but I move past people and the friendship just doesn't work for me anymore. It doesn't hold anything. They're just, and you bring up a good point. I want to talk about it. The frequency, like, they're just on a different frequency than I am. They're not vibrating at the same level. And sometimes those people, when you try and keep that friendship or relationship going, you're struggling. But I remember my ex and I remember doing a Reiki session after we ended it, and I had to break a connection. It was like one of those like really intense Reikis. And I always pictured he was behind me because he wasn't growing developmentally, like personal development. And I was moving faster. And I remember it was like his chest was to my back and I had a cut, like he was behind me. And I always remember that being like, some people need to do their own work.
Yeah.
And you're just doing your own work on a different frequency and vibration, and it just doesn't match up. So talk a little bit though about, because you hear that a lot in the quote unquote woo world, your vibration, talk a little bit about, for those people that don't understand vibrational energy. And
well, you can think about it like AM radio, FM radio, satellite radio. Okay, so I think even the young folks can know what AM radio is.
Maybe.
So right, so it comes in wavelengths that are different frequencies, and that's how you pick up the channel on your antenna. So imagine that you are the antenna, You want to turn your frequency, right? You don't want AM radio because it's a little scratchy and fuzzy. FM radio, okay, maybe it's got too many commercials in it, okay? You want to start going towards the satellite radio, okay? You want to lift up that vibration. You want to do things that are high vibrational, and that usually means like, kind of tuning into yourself, doing some healing work on yourself, working on your breath work. Like I said earlier, you don't have to be like super like woo-woo and cover yourself with crystals, but there are levels that you do need to kind of clear out energetically in order to get to that higher vibration. Some people will say, it's all about your diet, and I'm gonna be the first one to tell you that it's not 100% your diet. If you're drinking nothing but sodas and Gatorades, I'm gonna suggest maybe some water and maybe cool it on the processed food and have some real food. But I'm not gonna say you have to go vegan right now in order for you to listen to your guides, because that's not how it works. So, just doing a little bit of your own energetic work. Energetic work can simply be reacting differently to a situation that you would have, maybe been a little bit abrupt with before, or maybe you have healed beyond something, so you're not going to get mad about something that someone says or does, and instead you're just going to show compassion and just be like, oh man, that person's really going through something, and I feel bad for them, but that's not my issue right now. I need to work on me. So I send them, my prayers and my love, but I don't need to be actively involved in their drama or what have you. Mm-hmm. Other ways to simply raise your vibration, your energy, is be in nature. Just take your flip-flops off and just put your feet on the ground, in your yard, at the park, whatever. I was actually at the golf course the other day. My daughter had a lesson, and I slipped my shoes off and stood there with my feet on that grass because I love that soft that golf course grass.
The cool feeling of the grass.
It feels so good. And so that was my moment. Like I watched her, do her, practice shots and do all that. Well, I just grounded my energy. And I am not kidding. It is just as simple as that. Like, people are like, are you going to go hug a tree or something? Yeah, hug a tree if you want to. Talk to the tree. Tell it thank you for the shade. Thank you for the energy and the oxygenation that it brings to the environment. Whatever.
Yeah. Gratitude is a great way to shift your energy, your vibration is just, when you shift to gratitude, when you shift to that peaceful energy, you don't have room to be weighted down on the complaining, the negativity, and everything seems possible. And you kind of want to be a kinder person. You want more hope in your life and everybody else's life. You want to be helpful.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure that you even recommend this to your folks about writing out gratitude lists, that like will shift their energy, it's just, it doesn't matter whether you're in that business aspect or you're in the family aspect or what have you, personal level, writing out the things that you're grateful for, even just 3 things you're grateful for, simple things, can shift that energy.
A jar on my desk. Once in a while I'll write what I'm grateful for.
Yeah, and then, and pull it out. Like if you're having a rough day, open up the jar, pull out one of those, pieces of paper and read it to yourself and be like, oh yeah, that's so simple. And why am I worrying about this other inconsequential stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. They say like if it's not going to matter 5 years from now, then why are you spending 5 minutes on it? And so many of us will spend dozens of 5 minutes on something, and let it just tear us apart versus just figuring out like, is this my issue to handle? Do I need to let this go? Can I come back to this in, tomorrow in 24 hours after I slept on it? Mm-hmm. So having a shift in perspective, having gratitude, being in that place of compassion, all fantastic ways to just naturally lift that vibration. And so when you do that, when you're in that space, you will find that you start naturally calling these things to you. And you'll be like, it's almost like the lights at the intersection will start turning green for you. Like if you want to put like a visual to it, that's how your life will feel like. Like it'll just be like green light after green light. You're like, wow, I find that I'm like, things are moving a little bit easier. And it's because you're no longer throwing up the red light, the block for yourself. Yeah. And of course, there's going to be moments where you do hit a block, where you do have to come to a standstill, a 4-way stop, and look all directions before you take off again. And that's just part of life, because in those moments of like lessons and integration, we're working through our stuff. It doesn't mean that that's it. The car is dead and we're never going to be able to go anywhere again. It just, we need a moment. We need to collect ourselves.
Up-leveling moment where you have to get over the challenge. You're going to learn something by getting over the challenge. And then
absolutely.
And I noticed that. I mean, I remember in my 20s, I was very depressed. I for chemical, from hormone reasons and just life situation. And I could not, this is why I have true joy experience, because I could not find joy. I honestly thought I am incapable of feeling joy. Everything is miserable. I hate work. I hate school. I don't have the best friendships. My relationship's going nowhere. I mean, I was stuck in that energy. And I must have been Debbie Downer. Like, I tried to still be a kind person and care about my friends, but I was so stuck in that energy. And I've learned in my 30s, when I do start to celebrate, and I talk about this with my clients all the time, you got to celebrate even the little things.
Yes.
If you're seeing something negative, find the one small thing. I was telling somebody the other day who was doing her first live videos on Facebook. And she's like, I watch it after and I criticize myself. I'm like, all you have to do is find one thing. It could be like you loved your arms that day, or heck, your hair looked great. It didn't even have to be anything. Just focus on the one thing you liked in every single video. And all of a sudden you'll start to realize, oh, I really like doing videos, and I'm okay with watching myself, and I'm really doing good. But if you're stuck only seeing the negative, that's when your life, you start to struggle. You're not intuitively connected. You're not trusting the process. You're not gonna move forward at all because everything's wrong. I have debt. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. But when you switch to gratitude and celebration and giving yourself the alone time and the permission to, have your ups and downs, the world all of a sudden opens up. And that's when you start to flow and you're like, oh my God, look at all my goals are being hit. And I know what I want. I feel more confident. It's that, and people don't realize it's energy, and your thoughts become things because your thoughts become your energy.
Yes. That's precisely it. Your thoughts become your energy. So if you're staying in this, like you said, Debbie Downer moment, and then you're attracting to you other people that, are Debbie Downers, the misery loves company. That's what you're drawing to you. But you actively know, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to be in this little cycle any longer. So you know what you want. You have to start then switching it up and seeking out the things that you do want versus the things that you don't want. So, and that's fine knowing what you don't want. That's we go through those experiences in our life so that we can specifically go, I did not like that and I don't want to do that again. So shift it and move forward. Instead of sitting in that pocket of guilt where you're like, why was I so dumb? And why did I do this? And why did I date that person? And why did I open my mouth and stick my foot in it? Have your moment where you're just like, oh, but then, like you said, find celebrate what was right in that moment.
Yep. Yeah. Look for the lesson too. That's what I learned when I wallowed in my past so much, is what did I learn about myself and who did I become that I can now be a more confident person now. And so whenever I think of, oh, this went wrong, this partnership didn't work out, I think, but what did I learn? And how to make me a better person? And then I can let it go because, hey, I learned that lesson. I don't want to learn it again, which every time I come up with a struggle, it's the universe saying you need to face this inner issue so that you can learn and be more confident so that I can then give you the next piece of your life.
Yes. That's precisely it. It's precisely it. And those moments, they are, they can be very challenging. They can downright suck. Yeah. But we, when we're outside of it, then we can look back and go, ooh, wow, I did not like it. So, and then for you to actively say, thank you, God, thank you, universe, for that lesson that I learned. I have learned it and I am ready to move forward and not repeat that again.
And the universe listens.
It does. It does. But there were moments where you will be tested. Well, they'd be like, are you sure you don't want this anymore? And you have to actively stand up and go, no, I don't want that anymore. That looks really pretty on the outside. Yeah, that looks really pretty, or that's super easy, but been there, done that, got the t-shirt and ready.
Yeah. That's a cruel trick, but are you sure you learned your lesson? Here it is again. You know how many times exes have come back, have reached out, and it took me years to be like, don't answer the phone. You're not going that way. You're going this way.
And some people take that as like the universe sent them back to me because we were meant to be together. And I'm just like, no,
It was a
no,
test.
the universe sent it back to you as a test. Okay. Like, remember how awful this hot guy was? Remember? Don't answer his text.
delete.
Delete. You will find that the more times you repeat the lesson, the easier it is to learn. Okay, there are going to be stuff that you pick up right away and you're like, I'm good to go. But then there's going to be some stuff that happens in your life that you just keep falling back on it, and you're not going to realize that you were stronger and able to, like, move outside of that energy, until you actually step up and do it.
Yep. Yeah, I was talking to a friend. I was at lunch with her yesterday, and we were talking about money. And she was laughing because she's like, I had to work with not a collection agency, but like a credit people.
That like restructuring.
A couple of times. She's like, it took me a while to learn my lesson. I just kept thinking of God going, we got to do this again. And I would basically, you got to do it again. You didn't learn it the first 2 times. Let's go around for number 3.
Yep.
But that's where it's so important to have that partnership with the universe, when you can take the moments to tap into your intuition. Because when, this is one thing I wish they would teach in school about self-development and also meditating and learning to get quiet so you can hear things. Because along the way, if I would have known that there was guidance happening, that, because you think about it, you were born naked, right? These are the things I think about in the shower. We were born naked. There was no manual that came with us, right? There wasn't even clothes. So we were born with the intention of, you don't need anything else. It's just you and me, kid. Like, you could be naked to do your work. You don't need a manual on how to do it, because whoever created you is going to guide you along the way, right? God's going to guide you. And that's what we were born with. We were born with the spirit and our body. And so that was the guidance. And I just think if I would have known some of this stuff, my life would have been smoother. It's so much more relief for me that I'm not in control all the time, right? That it's not all me. And that if I just get quiet, and that, I want to talk about this with you, but, I often think Earth was created with everything. We get medicines from plants. We get medicine from food itself, water. It's all provided in the atmosphere, on the earth, in the ground. I think I felt like God was always saying, I gave you everything you need. Just dig it up. And that's what I think about, with crystals. And I think about the stars and the universe. The energy is all there. The crystal energy is all there. The food energy is all there. Everything's there. It's how you use it and tap into it.
It's the same with yourself. How do you use the brain power that you have? How do you use your physical strength or your, tenacity?
Yeah.
One is not, more so than the other. It's a matter of how you tune in and how you use it, and when you use it. Are you using it at the correct time?
That's a good point. Yeah.
No, I think that's if you wanted to go like that route, that's probably a whole other, you could you could dig deep and you could do a whole 3 podcasts just on that alone. But
True.
Just to touch base on it, there's so much out there that is already readily available to you, and so much that's already within you. That you're not having to call out. I'll give this example: love, because this is something I think that when people think about going to a medium, to a psychic, they want to ask about their love life, And so I'll just use that one as an example. When folks start asking where's my, my soulmate, my twin flame, but whatever they want to title it, where's my partner at? I have to stop and I just redirect, and I just go, do you love you? Do you love every single aspect of you? You want somebody to come and love you, but, and tell you that you're beautiful, and tell you that you're smart, and tell you that you're successful. But do you tell yourself these things? Because that's where it starts. If you can look at yourself in the mirror, fully naked, and you can still go, I absolutely love you. I love your stretch marks. I love your thigh dimples. I think you are the smartest person in this room, whether you're in the room by yourself or not. What do you tell yourself? Because you need to be the one supplying that wisdom and that strength. Don't look for stuff on the outside of you. Okay. So, and if you can't love yourself 100% how you are, then you can't expect somebody else to do that for you.
Well, that's the same, even, my clients that are starting businesses. I'm like, no matter what you do, your business and your life, whatever goals you have in life, it's all you. And the only way other people are going to be attracted to you, to work with you, to hire you, to love your art, to love your book that you wrote, you have to love you completely in anything. And it's funny when I was talking to my acupuncturist about the love addicts. The people that just go from, all they're seeking is the love from somebody else. And it's because it's the only way they can identify loving themselves. Yes. But it goes with not just relationships, it's with life too. Like, I had to come a long way as a coach to loving myself and being okay that my life's not perfect. I can still coach other women and have all my ducks in a row, that I'm okay on video, even if I have blueberries in my teeth, that I can still love my message. I've done that so many times. I used to drink blueberry smoothies and I'd have and if you're not in like a light and like you're outside in the sun and you can't really see what's in your teeth, there's like, I'm on video talking, and then you look at it going, well, I'm not going to redo it, so I got blueberries in my teeth. But you have to love and be like, okay, my hair wasn't perfect, okay, I had to wear my glasses and that, okay, I have a pimple. And then it goes back to the energy. If your energy for yourself is love, then you're going to send energy out that is love.
Yes. And you're talking about the love addicts. There's like job addicts as well. Like, they hop from job to job to job because they will like put out there that, oh, well, this job wasn't fulfilling my, my creative strengths, or this job didn't do this for me. And I'm just like, but what were you doing for the job? Like, you went to it because there was something about it that you were drawn to. There was something about it that you loved, and even if it was the paycheck that you were like all about, well, then there still was an aspect that you enjoyed doing in order to receive the paycheck. Yeah. So yeah, people, like, if you are like one of those hoppers of relationship, of friendship, of job, like, you need to stop and turn the mirror around and look at yourself and just go, where do I feel that I'm like lacking in order to be, what do I need to fulfill in order to like stop this little perpetual cycle?
Yeah. The cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So crystals.
So let's talk about like research. So it's interesting because I got into crystals. Honestly, I was drawn to crystals years ago. I must have been like maybe 9 or 10. I went to the Museum of Natural History and I loved the crystal display, the gemstones, and the rocks. And I never remembered it. And then I got into crystals probably about 9 or 10 years ago when I moved to Rochester. Rochester, New York has a very spiritual community. Like, that's where I became a Reiki practitioner. And I remembered that when I went to the museum when I was 10, I had bought some rocks. That's all I know them as. And they were in the basement still. My mom keeps everything, right? And they had been on a corner shelf that they were just in a box, and like, I thought nothing of it. And I didn't bring it in with me, but it's a huge amethyst that I had bought. And then there was another one that I think might have been clear quartz, but I can't remember where it is or what I did with it. And then there was a third one that I think was actually just a rock. I'm pretty sure it was a rock. As ugly as a rock too. But now that amethyst, I mean, it was huge. And back then, they cost nothing back. I'm sure at the museum it probably cost like $15 because it was a museum. But like back then it wasn't as big of a thing as it is now. And then now as a Reiki practitioner, I always use them. And I find I'll grab one without thinking of it. It's just like something to hold. And it'll be one that might correlate to something I'm going through. If I'm struggling with speaking up about something, I'm probably picked up aquamarine or turquoise or blue or something. Yeah. But they, I think a lot of people see them now. I mean, even Target sells like rose quartz every once in a while. I'm like, is it?
Which I think is hilarious. Okay, so I had this like big amethyst here on my desk.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So I was the same. I think, like either 7 or 8, probably 8, and went to a friend's house, and her parents were divorced, and she had just come back from being at her dad's that weekend, and they had gone and done something, and she came home with like a bag of rocks, and and they're in like a little velvet bag, and she's showing me all the pretty rocks that she got while she was with her dad, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I'm picking them up, I'm touching them, everything. And so she says, well, do you want one of my rocks? And I was like, no, these were a gift from your dad. And so she goes, no, but I want you to have one. And so we laid them all out on her bed, and she goes, pick the most favorite one. And I was like, well, what if my most favorite one is your most favorite? And she's like, it's okay, because I love all of them. And I was like, oh, I chose a tiny little amethyst one. And that was like, I love that rock. And it had like, the purple in it, but it was also clear. And when I sat it in my bedroom window, the sun would come through it and like put little like purple and like glowy rainbows on my closet door. And so that was like my first introduction. And there was just something about it that just called me to it. And so I totally get it. Like, just be like, ooh, rock. And so now I have dozens of rocks.
All over the house.
All over.
I forget I have them in my bag. I'm like, what is this? Oh, that's my aquamarine. It's right there.
Yeah. And so, and like you said, they're a little bit more mainstream now, so they're easily found, and whether you find it in jewelry that you're buying at Target, or it's, that you're going to like a craft show, and there's like, those like big things of amethyst, and it's like it turned into a water fountain or something, Yeah. So they're everywhere now. And it's because people are like, oh, there's actually something about this. Like, it's more than just a pretty piece of, art or statement piece in your home. There's something about this. I like having it in my purse. I like having it on the edge of my tub. I like, I like wearing it on my wrist. There's people like picking up and tuning into that energy. And so each one of the crystals carries a different frequency. And does something a little different. There's quite a few out there that kind of have like similar attributes.
Yeah.
And I actually wrote an ebook about like some simple, easy, quick books or crystals that you can get and have for yourself, And so like if I put out there that they're like your basic group,
The basic ones. Rose quartz, the clear quartz.
Yes. Citrine, amethyst, like a piece of black tourmaline, and then a piece of selenite. And so those were like, your pumpkin spice of the crystal world, And so those were the ones that I was like, look, if you were just starting out, these would be the ones that you would want to have, because they cover all your bases.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have a big, giant, fancy one. You could just have a tiny little piece, and the energy is still the same. Mm-hmm. And and there's so many out there. Like, there's like super like expensive gem quality ones. You don't need that. Honestly, you don't. Yes, they might be more aesthetically pleasing, but the energy that comes off of them is going to be pretty much the same. So let's say that you picked up 2 pieces of amethyst, and they're about the same size, coloration, price. One of them is probably going to speak to you more than the other. So that's where you're just kind of like, oh, me and this piece kind of like have a little vibe here. And it could be the same with like, when you put on a necklace, like, I like this necklace better. I don't know what that one's okay. It's pretty, but I never wear that one, but I love this one, same kind of thing. There's an energy to it that you're attracted to.
And usually
just like when you get dressed. Yes. And you're right. And it usually is because you need it. Even if you're just like, oh, I don't know why I was carrying this in my pocket for 3 days, but now said incident has happened, and now I know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, and the colors also, like Karen was saying, colors go with the different chakras and points of your body. So, just like maybe you're drawn to wear a certain color that day, you'd be drawn to a certain crystal that day because of its coloration. You're having a little bit of trouble speaking your truth. You just had an argument with your mom, and you want to stand your ground, but you don't want to be, super mean. So you might go and get, a piece of turquoise, a piece of aquamarine, in order to speak your truth and with love, but from your perspective as well, so they can respect you. So purple, calling in that crown energy, you know, third eye energy. So yeah, there are different color variations in that go with that energy as well.
Yeah. And it's powerful. You know, a lot of times I don't even think about it. And it's kind of like a craving. You know, when your body craves something because you're missing a vitamin. Crystals are the same, because they said, like, as we talked about the vibration, you know, everything, like my phone has a vibration. Well, not when it's ringing.
No, but it's still putting off energy. You know, you pick it up, it's still warm.
Mug, everything solid has a vibration to it. It's just a slower vibration because they're solid objects.
Yeah.
But like the you know, you might feel like really down, like love, right? You just broke up with somebody, you know, your vibration is going to be kind of low. You're sad. Rose quartz has the vibration that your heart needs to kind of get it back to, I think it's like rose quartz and green. I think it's mostly green is heart, but like rose quartz is also heart, like to get you back and to feel kind of bring in the love again.
Yes.
And so it's hard. It's one of those hard things that people have a hard time believing in because you can't see it. It's not a medicine you take that makes you alters your state of some way. It's very subtle. But I mean, if you go and you look at go around the stores and you look at all of them, you're going to be drawn to not just a specific color, but in all of the citrines, you're going to be drawn to one of the raw.
Yeah.
Like one of them, you're going to be like, I need this one for whatever reason. It's kind of a gamble, but it do work, and people put them in their waters. So they put them in the bottom of the water so that they drink it.
You have to be so you have to be careful of what you're putting in your anything that you're ingesting.
Oh yes, you don't want to swallow it.
But clear quartz would be fine for you to put in there. A piece of polished rose quartz, polished amethyst. Those are fine. Those are fine for you to put into your water. Don't put anything that's water soluble. So like anything like selenite will just essentially just turn into salt water. There's a couple of others as well. Like for example, I have these here on my desk. These are called boji stones, and they are made from the earth. So they're made by like rolling around at the base of this mountain, and they'll just turn into a mud ball, like if they got wet. So that's not something. Yeah. So they have energy, and they also have a maintenance, if you will. So so people put them in their waters, put them in their bath, or line them up along like the side of the tub. When I make my angel blessed blends, they all have crystals inside of them. So, and they are to kind of align with the vibration that what folks are working through. I've got one here right here on my desk, and this one is the wake up. So it's got citrine in it. It's like a bright peppermint and orange scent. And then it's got citrine in it because it's like bright. And then it's got clear quartz as well, because clear quartz is an amplifier. So you want to amplify the energy, and you want to feel kind of peppy and awake versus shaky and on your 15th cup of coffee.
That's true.
I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about coffee. I love coffee, but it comes to a point in my day where I need to be able to type, and if I can't, then I can't work.
You're shaking uncontrollably. You can't sit still.
Right. So, try to find a different avenue to raise that vibration versus the caffeine.
Well, and you bring up a good point, because aromatherapy is another, we do it for, some people say for health benefits, but it's also vibrational. It's also because it's plant-based, and it's also, like you said, it changes your energy. It brings you this, it's peppermint wakes me up. I always have peppermint with me.
Yeah.
It wakes me up. It makes me energized. It actually gets rid of my migraines, makes me actually focus better. They say if you smell peppermint while you're working out, you work out longer.
Yeah.
It changes your energy. Lavender's calming.
Yeah.
Lavender can calm you down, make you sleep.
Yeah, there's so many out there, and there's so many like blends to put together. Like, so when I put something together, I always make sure it smells good. I have in the past for folks, I'm just like, look, your blend is going to smell like vinaigrette, but that's what your guide's called for you to make. So don't put this anywhere near your nose or your face. Just put it on the bottom of your feet.
Crave a salad after you've.
I know. I made something for someone, and I told him, I'm like, I can either make this into 3 different batches, and you have to pay me for 3 different ones, or I can put them all in one, and it's going to smell like salsa. And so he's like, well, I like salsa. And I was like, okay. So I sent it to him, and he was like, oh my gosh. He goes, I'm actually calling, he goes, because I titled it with his name on it. And he goes, I'm changing the name to this, and this is now called Mexican Fiesta. He's like, I smell like I just ate salsa. And I was like, okay, that's like, okay, sometimes, but sometimes that's not okay. And he's like, I know. He goes, I actually like the scent, but then his partner did not. And his partner was just like, why does it smell in here? And he's like, it's me.
Oh my God. But I would be walking around with chips constantly.
I know. That's why I was just like, do you have chips at the ready? And so, you know, for the most part, they all smell really good. I always will consult with the client, like, are you going to wear this like around your face, on your wrist, somewhere where you can smell it? Or are you cool with just putting this on your feet and not smelling like, sometimes like it's a little earthy. Like I have a girlfriend that she abhors earthy scents. So any like frankincense, myrrh, anything with that, any sort of patchouli, she's not okay with that. But her guides are like, she needs it because she's a little bit too elevated. So she needs to ground her energy. So I mask it for her. So she's got frankincense in there, but then she's got like a ton of orange. So it smells like orange to her, but really it still carries the vibration and the oils that she needed to ground her back down.
I used to, I remember living in Rochester, and my body, I used to put frankincense on my feet almost every night in my lotion. I loved burning, patchouli with rose oil, and now I can't do it. It's interesting. I cannot. I try. Chocolate doesn't like it. My dog doesn't like it either. I was in my diffuser. I had frankincense, and he walked in. He was outside playing, and he walked in, and he walked right back out. Like he went like this, and walked right back out. And I was like, okay, no more frankincense. And even I couldn't for some reason. I love frankincense, and it goes to what your body needs and what your it's kind of like aromatherapy. Like if your body is drawn to, like a lot of times I cannot do, but other times it's in a blend and I'm like, I need it.
Yes.
I need more of this.
Yes. It smells really good with anything citrusy, by the way. It cuts the sweet on it. Yes. I make a couple blends where it's got a little bit of ylang ylang in it, and then it's got citrus like to brighten it. And
folks
that order it will just like, what is in here? It smells like heaven. I'm like,
Mixed it well. But these are great tools for getting your energy in the right place.
Yes. Like you were talking about aromatherapy. If you think about like smelling something that takes you back someplace that you enjoy. Like we can smell stuff that'll take us somewhere that, brings up maybe a memory, a situation that we're just not, it could be like somebody's perfume will remind us of an ex or someone we worked with that we didn't like, or, what have you. But then there can also be scents that you smell and it takes you back and you're just like, oh, it smells like my, like my 3rd grade, field trip, or this smells like, my best friend in the summer, or so, and everybody's scent, like their palate with their, olfactory senses are all different. So what smells good to one isn't going to smell good to the other. And, and it varies as well. Like, someday you might be okay, like you said, smelling lightly. And there might be times where you're just like, I can't deal with it today.
Most of the time I can't deal with it.
You know what? That's me with vanilla. Like,
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I'm like that with vanilla. I cannot stand. I like to eat stuff that has like vanilla in it, but smell of vanilla candle, no. Vanilla scented lotion, no. That's one of those like trigger scents that I'm just like, oh, 12th grade all over again.
Old days of like Yankee Candle or like Bath and Body Works, the fake vanilla. So when I smell anything with vanilla, even if it's a natural vanilla, I can't do it. I get back to.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So I, I hear you. But like, folks, if they're just like, oh, like the smell of like fresh cut grass or the rain, like, oh, just like relieves like all attention, just like flows out of me, Right. So
yeah.
Yeah, like that smell of like ozone and like hot tarmac,
That's the smell of spring coming.
Yes.
So let's chat briefly, though, about beyond Earth and like the stars. And because
Yeah.
I always remember, because my grandfather, ever since I think he was born, he would get migraines on a full moon. Like bad migraines, can't open it every time it was a full moon, couldn't open his eyes. And we didn't need a calendar. We just knew it's full moon because he only got migraines on the full moon. And that's when that was early on that I realized, wow, wait, the moon really has an impact. And it wasn't until I started to realize that certain things that are happening in the stars actually affect energy, which affects us because we're energy.
Yes.
And we're not, it's not like it's on the news, like this is happening with the solar flares or whatever. You have to really dig to find out the information. But I'm affected by solar flares that I didn't know. And it took me tracking the headaches I was getting and the mood in order to be like, oh, every time there's this type of solar flare.
Yeah.
Headache.
And they come in at different frequencies too, because sometimes people might be like highly affected, and then sometimes they just might like, oh yeah, I was a little bit agitated versus like I had a full-blown tantrum. So yeah, lunar energy, planetary energy, it affects us all differently, but it still affects us. So we have something called a natal chart. Whether you check your astrology, your horoscope for the day or not, you still have a natal chart, and it's based upon your time of birth and the location of where you were born in respective countries. Yeah, because the planets are going to align to different areas, different times of the day. And so each one of those planetary aspects is going to affect you differently. Even twins have the exact same planetary aspect, but they might pick up different things. Things might be a little bit more highlighted in their charts than I learned that recently, and I was like, oh, that's why, like, you can be like, well, this twin is kind of moody and this twin is kind of peppy, and so everybody's affected differently. It'd be like if you just off of a sun sign basis, somebody was like, I'm a Virgo too, and that Virgo was like, I hate to clean, and you're just like, wait, what kind of Virgo are you then? So there's that. Then that's because there's other aspects in their chart that affects them differently. Okay, so you can just go by like, you've got your sun sign, you've got your rising sign, and you've got your moon sign. So your sun sign is going to be how you see yourself. So, somebody said, oh, well, you don't really seem like a Virgo. You're like, you don't seem like a uptight, pretentious so-and-so. You'd be like, oh, well, that's because my rising is Libra, and I like to be a people pleaser. And then, and your rising is the one that is like what people see. That's the sign that, people perceive.
Okay.
And then your moon is your emotional state. So when the moon is in different aspects, or the moon is full, your mood is going to be, kind of affected. So like you said, your grandpa having headaches and migraines during the full moon, and it was affecting him in a very, in a physical sense. And some people, it will affect them more like on an emotional, and maybe a little bit cry weepy. Some people might be just like,
lash out.
Yeah. So, those are all things to take into consideration. I was watching an episode of Deadliest Catch, with the crabs. And it was an episode where we had that super full moon, I think back in October of last year, November, something. We had like it was just like a crazy thing. And so even on the show, Deadliest Catch on Discovery Channel, they were discussing how that super full moon had affected the crab catch, that the crab were a lot more active, and their pots were just stuffed full. And that they found that when the moon is at certain aspects and degrees, no matter where they set their pots, the crabs were like going to it. So everybody had like record catches because of where the moon placement was. And it was just the energy, and it was the tide. And so just like you see like the ocean tide like coming in, coming out, it does the same thing to us as well. So, people are just like, oh, I'm not affected by it. But it's like, but you can see that, like, how big is it in the sky? how is it affecting the water? How come all these babies are being born? Why is everybody driving like a jerk? Are you sure you don't believe it?
Yeah. Again, because you can't see it, so you don't think.
Right.
But we all know the moon affects the tide. So if it can affect water, and we are 80s whatever percent water.
It's like 74% water.
Exactly. Then we are get affected too.
Yes. These are all aspects to take into consideration. If you're just like, well, okay, I'm kind of curious about my natal chart, you can easily just go on Google and type in natal chart. You're going to have your birth time and location available, which is funny that I even mentioned it because it was part of my post today for folks that I was talking about some planetary alignments. And I said, if you don't know your birth time and location, then this is a good opportunity for you to call your mom.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I know where I was born. I think I know what time I was born.
Yeah. And you need to have the precise time. I mean, you can kind of take a guesstimate, and like the software will do its best for you. But having the precise time then gives you the precise reading. And then people can go on there and they can look at everything, not just, their three, major things of sun, rising, and moon. Then you can look up all like where the planets are and see how those affect, what types of relationships that, how you like to be loved and how you give love, what type of a worker you are, how you react in stressful situations or how you react during conflict. They're all in there. And, people will be like, oh, well, it's not really 100%, but I would say that it depends on how old you are. If you're a little bit on the younger side, you're going to see that there's some stuff in there that like where the struggles are probably a little bit more spot on. And then the older you get, you can look back at it and go, I did that. And I'm so glad I healed that because I don't behave like that anymore.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Yeah, so like the earlier you are in your lifetime, I would say like younger than 33, you're going to see like where you'll see where the struggles are will feel a little bit more spot on. And where we'll like highlight where, you like to do this and that, and you'll just be like, no, I don't. But then if you like move forward in your life and look at it and go, oh yeah, I'm older and wiser now. And yes, I actually do take comfort in these types of things.
Better. Yeah. You're going through, and you're so unsure. You've basically masked yourself.
Yes.
School years to 20s until you start to realize who you are. You kind of unbury yourself in your 30s.
Yes. And there is a planetary reason for that too. It's called your Saturn return, and you hit it at age 30. Saturn is back in its same spot where you were when you were born. And so you hit it, and it takes it that long to get back to your spot. And so you hit it at 30. And that's why you'll find that lots of people in their 30s, like in their very early 30s, feel this like existential crisis. And they're just like, am I going through a midlife crisis? I'm too young for this. And it's because all the stuff that they have been through, that they have shifted, and it's now like kind of like a snake shedding its skin. They are ready to be who they were meant to be. They're tired of playing the games. They're tired of, the facades. They're ready to be and step into who they were meant to be. And it can be rather painful. Sometimes it requires shedding friendships and shedding, jobs and locations. And so for everyone, it's a little bit different, but it's for their highest good. We talked about at the very beginning of the podcast. And so they go through it at 30 and then they'll go through it again at 60. So it's
something to look forward to. But you know what? I remember going through that because I moved to Rochester. I had to get away. I had to figure myself out at 30. Mm-hmm. And moved to Rochester for 2.5 years. And when I turned 35 or 36, I remember waking up. I want to say it was 35, but it could have been 36. I remember waking up going, oh, thank God I'm on the other side of my 30s, because that was brutal and horrible. Because I spent my time in Rochester. I was at a spa every weekend trying to find myself. And I had a quote on my wall that I put up there when I first got there, and it didn't hit me till afterwards. It said, well, the only journey is the journey within. But when I just put it up there because I couldn't find one I liked. So I put this thing on, stuck it on the wall. And when I was taking it down, I was like, oh, crap. And I was like almost 33 at the time. And I'm like, oh, man. I was like, that really was true.
Yeah. it's like that, forest through the trees type of a thing. Like you can't see it because you are in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And then it's when you step outside of it, you're like, yes, now that makes sense. So it'll be the same for folks when they read their charts. They can pinpoint where they might have already worked through it, where they might be currently working through it, and then something to look forward to how it has shifted.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I mean, the reason why I wanted you on, because I don't think a lot of us realize, because I started realizing even my cycle, my hormone cycle affects how I get on, how fast I get stopped at certain points. And then I started to realize it was recently that something had happened in the universe type thing. And I remember reading like, okay, don't do these things at this time. And I was like, thank God I never did those things at that time. I started to realize how I was being affected outside of what I could see. And I think a lot of us just want control so much. We want to believe that we can have all the control in the world. And we might sit in church and pray to God, which we cannot see, but we're not open to understanding that there are other energies that affect us too. And I think we should be able to monitor that, because we could live better, make better choices, stop fighting when things aren't aligned. We're not feeling good. We're feeling crappy. Like if you feel crappy at the full moon, don't do anything on the full moon. That's your rest day. That's just go get your pajamas, cut out of life, just watch TV. But knowing that, you won't feel like, oh my God, I'm not getting anything done because I'm such in a bad mood or whatever. But if you know what's happening that's causing it, it gives you a little peace.
It does. It does. And, if you have to put it on your calendar, like someone says like, hey, let's go out on this date. And you're just like, oh, yeah, no, that's in full moon. I don't care if you're going to sound like a crazy person or not. Just be like, you know what? I have plans that day. Oh, what are you doing? I'm staying home playing with my dog. Oh, just like, no, trust me, you're not going to want to be around me that day.
You don't want to be around me now.
And that day's going to come and you're just going to be like, man, I'm so good. I took this, I'm glad I took this day to myself, or I took this half a day to myself, because sometimes that's all you need is just like a little bit of, time to collect yourself. You don't need, you don't need a full 36, 48 hours, but I mean, yay, if you could take it. But just I know. But just having like an hour to yourself to do what you wanted to do makes a world of difference. It restores that balance back in your life.
Well, and I did that this morning. I mean, I had clients, but I woke up just in that. I didn't know why. I just was cranky. I wasn't even cranky. I just was like, I was exhausted for some reason. I felt off. And the good thing about giving massages, because I have massage clients this morning, is that it's a very meditative space, and it's a very healing space because there's a lot of healing energy. So I had 5 hours back to back of healing energy that could bring me out of it. And I mentioned, I made a tea that I liked. I was diffusing essential oils that would make me feel better. I put some on my neck. I did all the healing stuff so that I can return to the normal afterwards.
Yes. Hey, and even if you do all that and you still don't feel quite yourself, then,
call it a
push
walk.
back
Go back to bed.
Go back to bed. Push back your next meeting. Do what you can in order to restore your energy. I get it. Life happens, and sometimes like I don't have an opportunity to until 7 p.m. Then okay, like make sure that then at 7 p.m. that you are taking that time to yourself. That you're not now distracting yourself with your phone, or now you've put on something mind-numbing. Go do something for yourself. Okay, it could just be like a nice salt bath. It could be reading like your favorite book that you've been like it's been sitting there collecting dust on your nightstand. Whatever, do something for yourself that's like not a distraction, or perfunctory, duty.
Yeah. Give yourself permission to rest and get your energy back to where it needs to be. Heal yourself first. Heal yourself first.
Yes. There's that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. And I mean, that saying is there for a reason. I mean, it's 100% true. It's 100% true.
Well, I think you gave us so much to think about.
Good. I'm glad.
And even, for those of you watching that, or this is all new to you, if we're not throwing it out there and being like, buy all the crystals and go get the chart. But it's so that, woo, what we call woo, which is so funny to me, is not just woo. It actually is our tools to help you feel more confident, feel more like yourself, understand that you are not completely in control. And that's a great thing. You don't have to be completely in control. There's a reason for everything. You have a partnership with the universe. You have a partnership with God. And there are tools like essential oils and crystals that can help you keep your energy up, stay more confident, be happy and joyful.
Yeah, I know there's folks out there that are like, well, you can't be positive 100% of the time. And I'm like, you can't be in a negative space either. So work through what you need to work.
It's not about being Pollyanna. It's actually knowing what tools work for you. So for me, like, I know my essential oils that are my go-tos. I know the crystals that are my go-tos. I know when I just need to go watch TV for a day. Like if you could, as an entrepreneur, I can do that sometimes. I know when I need to go for a walk. I know when I have more energy to work. It's getting to know what's best for you and understanding that you are energy and your mood is going to go up and down depending on who you're around, who your friends are, who you're hanging out with, what you're listening to. Like if you're listening to motivational podcasts, you're going to be higher level of energy. If you're watching a bunch of violent shows and reading the obituaries all the time,
oh my God,
might not be so positive.
Right. You might be a hypochondriac.
So, it's about what you surround yourself with and the tools that you decide to use that work for you.
Yes. I agree 100%. Yeah.
I'm so glad we can talk about, I could talk about this all day.
Same. I'm passionate about it, and that's the thing is that when you find something that you're passionate about, you want to do it.
Yeah. It's not work anymore.
Right. And I love sharing it, and for those out there that, like you said, that this is their first encounter with any of this, don't feel overwhelmed. Do something that resonates with you, whether it's, do the walk in nature, take your shoes off and feel the ground under your feet. Or maybe it's that you try some of that Epsom salt in your bath and see how you feel afterward. You do what works for you. You don't have to go like, full hog and like cover yourself in crystals and, and now you're like, living in an ashram or something like that.
That is really going the extreme route.
That's the extreme. But, there's people that are like, they think that anybody who says that they have like a woo-woo or that they have a more spiritual, relationship with the universe versus a religious relationship, they think that, I wear nothing but, white and I cover myself in a headdress and I'm a vegan. But that's not the case.
No.
And for those out there that feel like they can't tune into their intuition and can't tune into the energy because they're not, XYZ that they read online, don't believe that either. I don't care what you eat, what you do for a living. If you read the obituaries all day long, you can still tune into your own divine messages and tune into what is meant out there for you.
By simply, walking, I journal. I might do a devotional in the morning. I might journal. I might meditate. I mean, it could be 5-10 minutes in the morning of meditation.
Yeah.
If you're feeling chaotic, just stop and sit in a chair. You don't even have to meditate. You just have to sit there and think about your breathing.
Yep.
Do it for 5 minutes. That's a way where the only way you can hear your intuition is if you get quiet. So all you have to do is find quiet and you get your energy back to you and your right energy and your balance. It really is a partnership with your own energy. Yep. It's your mind and your heart and your gut working together.
Just lining it all up and you do whatever it takes for you. And even if it takes you 5 times of like calming yourself down in one single day, then by all means take those
time. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It'll be well worth it.
It will. And that's where you get all the guidance and that's how you find out, get your clarity. Cause a lot of my clients come in, I don't even know what I want to do. And it's like, then shh, don't do anything. Be with yourself for a while and it'll come to you as you spend more time, even if it's going to the movies by yourself or eating, it's just being with you and getting to know yourself that you'll hear what you want to do.
Or hear what it is that you don't want to do. Like, yes. Sometimes for folks, that's the first thing is they know what they don't want. Yes. So go ahead, cross it off the list.
Yep. Yeah.
Put it in the con side of your pros and cons list. You know?
Yes, the things that don't bring you joy. These things.
Yep.
I don't want these. I want these.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. So they can find you on Instagram and Facebook at Angel Roots and Boots.
Yep. And also on my website, angelrootsandboots.com.
Awesome.
I'm kind of like a jack of all trades. So an intuitive reader. I also do, have a crystal ebook out there. Have my channel blends that I call in everybody's, the particular person's guides and what they want to create for them. There's ones out there that are already ready, set to go, that I will create for them as well. I have a tribe, the Amethyst tribe, and in that tribe, we dig deeper. So there's the stuff that I put out there for everybody, for the content for everybody to enjoy. But then I have the Amethyst tribe, and in that tribe, we dig deep. We go into some healing stuff. People get goodies for the month of September. Folks got a free blend, and then every month, folks get their salty and sweet reading, which is where I pull 2 different cards, and one has some choice language and one is very sweet, and but they play together very nicely, and they get readings for that. And like I said, we dig deep. We have a really good time. It is a small community, so I'm able to devote my individual time to each person and help them out through whatever they're going through. But the way that it typically works out is that, and this, Katerina, that the universe will call in the people who need to be together. And so we'll call in the people that kind of have like similar things happening in their current lives. And we all just support one another. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm so incredibly blessed to facilitate it.
That's really cool. That's really fun. That's cool. I love it.
Me too.
Well, thank you so much. Go follow her on Instagram.
You check it out. It's not everybody's cup of tea. And if Fridays are a little bit too salty for you, then you don't have to look at them.
Wednesday's cards are really good.
Wednesday's cards, Wednesday is Wisdom Wednesday. And so like I said, today I posted stuff about some planetary aspects that are going to affect everybody for the next 2 years. So that was a big one. But yes, I typically pull cards on Wednesdays. And Mondays, I always share a crystal of the week. So this week I shared a beautiful piece of bumblebee jasper. And so it's a cute, bright yellow, sunshiny, looks like a bumblebee. And it has some like pop of energy. And so it was the perfect one for this entire week for folks to help them, navigate the energies, if you will.
Tackle the day, tackle the week.
Yes, tackle the week.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I know, me too.
All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us for True Joy Revolution. We'll see you next time. Hi, Joyful Lady. Thank you so much for listening to the True Joy Revolution podcast. I want to invite you to join the Joyful Business Society Facebook group. This is where you'll receive coaching, support, guidance, and friendships, all the things you need to live your best life and become the CEO of your life and business. You'll receive VIP access to trainings and new resources, and even discounts on courses and coaching. So pop over to Facebook and search for the Joyful Business Society and join today. I look forward to seeing you in there. And if you liked what you heard today, help us spread the message by leaving a review for other women to see and be encouraged to subscribe. Your reviews go a long way with helping this podcast be seen by those that are ready to live life their own way. So thank you so much for helping us spread the love and helping other women embark on their own True Joy revolutions. So thank you so much for being a part of the True Joy Revolution community. I really appreciate it, and I'll see y'all next time.